How do you go from this to this? Tune in right now and I'll show you.
Ladies, gentlemen, geeks of all ages, you are now entering BJ Shea's Geek Nation. Welcome.
Hey guys, it's Uncle Chris. If you've been watching these shows that I do every once in a while for long enough, you've probably seen and heard me talk a lot about the Firefly board game. Started out when the thing first came out, I was super excited about it. I got the box as soon as I could, took it over to the game store, and we sat down and we played it. We didn't like it. And so the game sat on the shelf for a while. It sat on the shelf for probably about a year and a half, almost 2 years. So I got to thinking, why aren't we playing this game that we should absolutely love? It's Firefly after all. It's a board game. It's strategy. It's all the things we love. What were we doing wrong? I got the thing out and I set it up, played it against myself for a few times, and discovered exactly what we were doing wrong, took it back to the group, played it again. Everybody loved it. By this time, there had already been a couple of expansions that came out, more ships, different things you can do, different rule mechanics that had been invented for the thing. I went down that road quite a ways, decided to round up all those extra expansions, the extra ships, get everything together so that we could have one big, massive game. I even got the huge playmat that you can do instead of putting the 3 boards together for the 2 extra expansions that double the size of the game. And I've already told you about all of that. I've told you about how hard it was for me to round up both of the extra expansions, the incredible difficulty I had getting that big playmat, which I did finally get. Thank you very much. So now I have all the pieces I need. Let's sit down and play this game. I broke it out again just to refresh myself on some of the rules and make sure that I could handle all of this stuff from the expansions that the other people hadn't played yet and make sure that I could teach it well. I realized something about this game. When you're flying around and doing your jobs and things like that, you get paid for those jobs, and you get paid in money, cashy money, paper money. Now, I didn't realize it at the time, and it's something I haven't had to think much about. There's a lot of other games out there that use money not only for making purchases and tracking points and things like that in the game, but a lot of those other games don't use paper money. They have other things. They've got chips or little cardboard bits, or, if we play Zaya, they've got metal money. It's really neat. Not a lot of games have paper money, so it wasn't something I really had to think about much. But I realized I hate paper money in a game. It's so hard to keep track of. It stacks and you can't cover it. You either have to keep a different pile for every single denomination you have, or be some sort of mental wizard where you can just keep track of it all in your head. I'm not a fan of paper money in games. So I had a problem. I needed to figure out some way to take this paper money and turn it into something that I would enjoy playing with. Not to say that you can't play the game with paper money. It works just fine. But the game itself is already a pretty sizable table hog. It takes up a lot of extra real estate and space. So I wanted something that would be smaller, take up less space, and also be not paper money, which we've already discussed I don't like. I got a couple of suggestions from my friend Josh over the Omega Gamers, and he pointed me towards a couple of websites where you can purchase money for games, chips and different sort of things, and all in the denominations that you need, different size tokens, all these different things you could do. It turned out I needed about 150 pieces in 4 different denominations, and that was going to be very spendy indeed. So I thought to myself, how hard could it be to just make something, to take the paper money and turn it into something workable, something that I could enjoy? How hard would that be, really? And I remembered this crafting thing called decoupage. Maybe you've heard of it. I don't know. You take paper and essentially glue, and you paste the paper onto something, and you turn it into something else. You decorate it with other things. I've got a whole table in the other room that's decoupaged with comic book pages and things like that. My wife did a bunch of these candle sconces wrapped with book pages and also comic books and music sheets and things like that. And she used that same crafting method. So why wouldn't that work, taking this paper money and putting it onto something useful, like, say, poker chips? And so that's what I did. I took a bunch of these poker chips, I measured them to figure out how big they were so that I knew how big to cut the circles to go onto the front of the faces of them and turn it into money for the game. But I didn't want it to just be pieces of paper with numbers on that said, here's how much you got. That seemed a little bit pedestrian, a little bit boring, and didn't really honor the game. We could have literally just used poker chips and said, this one's 500, and the blue one is 100, and the white one is, 1,000, whatever. That also seemed a little pedestrian. I want this game to feel like you're playing in the world, and that's the idea of having this money. This is legit money, like, that they've printed for the game that's literally like Firefly money. It's Alliance money. I wanted to carry that over onto my chips. That's what I did. And I think they came out pretty well. I mean, you can see that. It's kind of shiny. It's kind of neat. It's, it's got that. So I went from this to this. Huh? Right? Pretty nice. It's smaller. It's a chip and it's not paper money. It's something that still holds the flavor and the feel of the game, but is much, much more manageable, easier to work with, and quite frankly, I think a lot cooler. But enough about where I got. A wise man once said that how you get there is the worthier part. So I'm going to show you. Welcome to my workstation. So this is the workstation. This is everything I used to make those coins exactly the way I want them to be. First thing I did is I scanned in all of the different denominations of money and then turned them into an arrayed picture so that I could print them out and have 8 copies on a page. Because like I said earlier, I needed 150 pieces of everything. 4 different denominations, 150 pieces total. Once I had that, I had to figure out exactly how big the chips were, and I found this cutter that is just a hole punch, essentially. And what it does is it makes circles. Simple, easy, right? Fine. And it was just the right size, so it was perfect. So then I cut the sheets down. I turned them into single pages. I figured out exactly where I would want to do the cutting, and I just kind of popped out a circle like that. Boom. See? Now this is not what I used, but I mean this is just an example. I'm already done with the thing. I've done the entire project, but I just wanted to show you how this worked. Now that part's done. Okay. Then that part's not done. And then I cut out the dollar amounts on each one. I took the smaller of the 2 pieces just because it was going to fit better on the coins. Okay, now that part's done. So what I came away with then at the end were these. Right? So I just had to figure out where to line it up on there so that it would still look good as a coin and you could still read the dollar amount and things like that. To make that happen, rubber cement. So, you got your rubber cement. Take your tweezers, you take just a little thing there, and just a little dab on there will do you. Don't need a whole lot of this rubber cement at all. A little bit goes a long way. Set that on there. Boom. All right? Okay. Pretty good. So then, once I had that piece done, I needed to get it onto the chips themselves. And that's when the handy-dandy decoupaging glue came in, and it's just Mod Podge. I don't mind giving them a quick plug. Not a sponsor. But it's good stuff. And I chose the glossy Mod Podge only because I wanted them to be, well, shiny. Come on. It's Firefly. Of course they're going to be shiny. So then I take one of these chips, okay? Boom. Just like that. Foam brush. Foam paint brush. I don't know why. I suppose you could use just about any kind of brush, but that's what I used. Take a little bit of Mod Podge. And I mean a little. Little dab will do you, man. Take that on there like that. And then just move that around generously. Apply that as generously is the wrong word. And just apply that on there as best as you can, getting as much full coverage as possible. And just a little thin layer on there. This is just to hold the paper onto the face of the chip. Don't need a whole lot of it. Okay, take that, center it on there. Bam. Now, theoretically, I'm done. But I wanted to make sure that the fronts of these didn't start coming off after 3 or 4 plays. So I wanted to then coat the top of it. Now, you're going to want to let that set for about 10-15 minutes just so the Mod Podge dries out and also that rubber cement. But both of these are very fast drying and you're not using very much of it at once. So 10-15 minutes is really all you need. So then lastly, to make sure not only that the things would be a little bit more durable, but also to give it that nice, shiny kind of, look to it like it's a coin, I wanted to take some more of the Mod Podge and apply that on the top. Now, this layer can be as thick or as thin as you want. The nice thing about this Mod Podge stuff is it dries clear, like really clear. And so I used quite a bit of it towards the end, not only because I wanted to make sure I had a good seal between the edge of the paper and the side of the chip, but also because I wanted it to be extra shiny. Like I said, it's Firefly. It's shiny. That's a thing. Look it up. Just a few quick strokes on there. Set that aside. Let it dry. That's it. That is all I did to make those chips in there. I did that 150 times. And now I have a set of money that I'm very proud of. Not only did I make it myself, but I feel like it works better with the game, and I managed to maintain the integrity of the money itself so that it looks like you're still playing with that Alliance money. I love that. So now this thing is going to be hitting the table a lot more often because I'm proud of what I did and I think it looks really good, and I think that not only is it a very, very fun game, now it's going to be a lot more workable and take up a lot less space on the table. Well, that's about all the time I have for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Share, like, subscribe, the 3 things I'm always going to ask you to do, and until next time, Stay shiny. Firefly money. It's